Joseph becomes governor. The prison cell was cold and dimly lit, but Joseph's heart carried a light that no chains could extinguish. For years, he had endured betrayal, false accusations, and forgotten promises. Yet his faith in God had never wavered. The sound of approaching footsteps echoed through the stone corridor. 2 guards appeared at the doorway, their expressions tense. "Joseph," one of them called, "the Pharaoh has summoned you immediately." Joseph stood, his mind racing. Why would the ruler of Egypt call for a Hebrew prisoner? The guards rushed him to be bathed and given fresh clothes. His beard was trimmed, his hair combed, and he was dressed in clean linen garments. For the first time in years, Joseph looked like a free man. He was led through grand corridors adorned with gold and carvings of Egyptian gods. Until he reached the majestic throne room, the Pharaoh sat upon an elevated throne, surrounded by advisors, scribes, and military commanders. His face was stern, but his eyes revealed a deep worry. "I have heard," Pharaoh began, "that you can interpret dreams." Joseph humbly bowed. "I cannot," he replied, "but God will give Pharaoh the answer he seeks." The court murmured at Joseph's bold yet reverent words. Pharaoh silenced them with a wave of his hand. He began to recount his troubling dreams. "In my first dream, I was standing by the Nile, and 7 healthy, fat cows came up from the river to graze. Then 7 thin, sickly cows emerged and devoured the healthy ones. Yet after consuming them, they remained as thin as before. In my second dream, I saw 7 plump heads of grain growing on a single stalk. Then 7 thin and scorched heads sprouted, and they swallowed the healthy ones. None of my magicians or wise men can explain this." Joseph listened intently. His spirit stirred. "Pharaoh," he said, "both dreams carry the same message. God has revealed to you what he is about to do. The 7 healthy cows and the 7 plump heads of grain represent 7 years of abundance throughout Egypt. The 7 thin cows and the 7 scorched heads of grain represent 7 years of severe famine that will follow. The reason the dream was given twice is because the matter has been firmly decided by God, and it will soon come to pass." The court fell silent. Joseph took a breath and continued. "Let Pharaoh appoint a wise and discerning man to oversee the land during the years of abundance. Let him gather 1/5 of the harvest during those good years and store the grain in cities under Pharaoh's authority. This food will be held in reserve to sustain the people during the 7 years of famine." Pharaoh's eyes narrowed in thought, and then a slow smile spread across his face. He turned to his advisors. "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" The room buzzed with murmurs of agreement. Pharaoh then faced Joseph. "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people will submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." In an instant, Joseph's life transformed. The guards removed his prison garments and replaced them with robes of fine linen. Pharaoh placed his own signet ring on Joseph's finger, a golden chain around his neck, and ordered a chariot to be prepared. As Joseph rode through the streets of Egypt, heralds went ahead, shouting, "Bow the knee." The people obeyed, not knowing the man before them was once a foreign slave. Joseph was given the Egyptian name Zaphenath-Paneah, and a wife from a respected priestly family. In the years of abundance that followed, he traveled throughout Egypt, overseeing the storage of grain in massive storehouses. The harvests were so plentiful that the grain was recorded as beyond measure. Joseph's leadership was strategic and relentless, ensuring that every region was prepared. During this time, Joseph and his wife had 2 sons. The first he named Manasseh, saying, "God has made me forget all my trouble and my father's household." The second he named Ephraim, saying, "God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering." Yet deep in his heart, memories of his family remained, and a longing for his homeland persisted. When the 7 years of abundance ended, the famine began just as Joseph had said. The famine struck not only Egypt, but also all surrounding lands. People from across the region came to Egypt to buy grain. Pharaoh directed them all to Joseph, who managed the distribution carefully to avoid chaos. The storehouses opened, and Egypt became the lifeline for nations. One day, among the long lines of foreigners seeking food, Joseph saw a group of men that made his heart pound. They were older, worn by years of labor, but unmistakable they were his brothers. They bowed before him, just as he had dreamed as a boy. Joseph's mind raced with memories of the day they sold him into slavery. Yet he did not reveal himself. Instead, he tested them to see if their hearts had changed. But that is another story. For now, the prophecy was fulfilled. The Hebrew prisoner had become the governor of Egypt, the second most powerful man in the land. His rise from the pit to the palace was not the work of human hands, but the unfolding of a divine plan. Joseph knew it was God who had positioned him not for revenge, but for salvation, so that many lives would be saved in the days of famine. Through it all, Joseph's journey stood as a testament that faith in God can turn the lowest valleys into the highest peaks, and that no circumstance is too dark for his purpose to shine through.